Don't believe I have to remind you that this mission is top secret. Everything that you do will be rejected. Many of our best men have been on this mission before. We've sent in countless swabs, and we have uncovered massive levels of intel. But all those that we have caught, their mouths are shut tighter than Fort Knox. Every time we have a good lead, we come up short and empty-handed. This time, however, we're sending you undercover. You're gonna join them, become one of them, watch them, listen to them, and hopefully not be buried by them. We've lost a lot of the best boys we've got. We've lost countless taxpayers' dollars. You cannot become another casualty. Backroom deals, scumbags. We don't know what they're capable of, but we think we know what you're capable of. So be patient and listen. They're out there somewhere. They're out there.
And we are live. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Lord Glarp. I'm speaking with Sage. We got Sage here. Disembodied Sage.
I have a body, you're just not allowed to see it.
But my body's telling me yes. Sage, we got something very special happening today.
Was this going to be our best episode yet?
It's going to be at least good. And that's saying a lot for us, I'd say.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
I'm adjusting my microphone, adjusting my volume, because I'm feeling loud, and I don't want to blow out people's eardrums. Okay, I think that's good. Woo! All right. I also have had like kind of a frog in my throat for most of the day, so try and take care of that. Like I said, I am Lord Glarp. We're talking with Sage. This is going to be a good episode as opposed to a bad episode. I know that's our norm. I know that's what you guys are used to. Bear with us. And this is the Trade and Raid podcast. And it's totally fine that it's a podcast. I almost changed it to the Trade and Raid show. I almost changed it yesterday.
Really?
I came very close. And I'm like, everything already says podcast on it.
It is bugging you that much.
You know, what I would end up doing is I would end up calling it the Trade and Raid show, and then I would start uploading it to podcast platforms. And then I'd be like, well, on this platform, it's the Trade and Raid podcast, but on YouTube, it's the Trade and Raid show. And I figured that would just confuse and or piss off everybody, so I just...
It could also be really funny.
Just trying not to think about it. Nothing feels extremely right. I have something that I want to show you guys. I'm very excited about this. I'm getting right into it. No intro. We're not doing any openers. Because
we are doing an opener.
Kinda. I guess it is kind of an opener.
Yeah.
I have had this, and I crossed out all my information. I have had this black folder waiting for 3 days. I have been staring at this thing for 3 days. Some of you may remember back on episode like 12 or 10 of the podcast, I said that I was going to get a magazine, order a magazine subscription from the Video Game History Foundation. We're going to talk about them, but this is it. This is the magazine that they sent. As you can see, it's still sealed, and they send it in a nondescript, very blank, like there's no, aside from like my shipping information, my address, they don't really have any information on this, and it's all blacked out. And I think if you order like a porn mag, I think this is how they send it. I'm pretty sure like non-discrete pornography comes like this, or used to. I don't think people do that in the mail anymore. Maybe old people do. I don't know.
No comment.
I'm a little out of it on the what's going on with porn magazines. I'm not sure.
Not a connoisseur of adult entertainment.
not at the current moment. And despite what this might suggest. But if you know something that I don't know, maybe the times have changed. I mean, it is the year of our Lord 2023, so maybe people get their porn through the mail in translucent bags now. Maybe no one cares anymore. I don't know.
It's all about that OnlyFans. That's where it's at.
Maybe. Well, if you know anything about it, feel free to leave a comment below, and we'll get taught something. So, I want to tear this thing open so bad. Here, let me share my screen with you, Sage, so we're on the same page here. So I want to rip this thing open bad, but I think that I need to do it justice. That was many episodes ago. That was many podcasts ago. You see, our podcast episodic? Shows are episodic.
Yeah, podcasts are usually like done as an episode.
Okay, so we can say the episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess what else would you call it? Installment?
I don't know. Why not have our cake and eat it too? Because we could call it the the trade show and the raid cast.
There you go. I've let it not bother me for like 2 straight weeks. I've tried so hard not to think about it. So I want to do this review and reveal. I want to do it some justice by kind of, we don't got to get as deep into it as we did back on said episode. But the Video Game History Foundation is very cool. If you notice the square circle thing, that should be in the thumbnail. Very simple branding they got, and I appreciate it. So the mission of the Video Game History Foundation, we're bringing video game history back to life. The Video Game History Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving, celebrating, and teaching the history of video games. Our archives provide rare material for study. Our advocacy and educational outreach bring everyone together to do their part in celebrating and discovering video game history. And what they do is pretty deep. What they do is really deep. We'll get into a bit of it. Yeah. So when it comes to video games are huge right now. Obviously, they've only been growing over the years. But when it comes to books that speak of gaming history and games in general, they make up only 4%. As far as media goes. So music, books about film and television, books about games. Very small. Documentaries that have been made about entertainment. Again, there's 51% of documentaries in the entertainment sect, I don't know what you'd call it, are 51%, film and TV 47%, and video games only about 2% of entertainment-based documentaries. Media-based documentaries are for games. But when it comes to revenue in media, games right now have like the biggest chunk. Music actually is a very small by comparison. So it's interesting that there's more people consuming games right now than any other media type as far as dollars go, as far as revenue goes. But there's just not much documentation going on. I think it's because people go back and watch old movies very frequently. 5-year-old movie, 10-year-old movie, 20-year-old movie, 30-year-old movie. People go back and watch if it's their favorite or it's just something they like to share it with friends. I know that I got a couple key movies that I like to share with people when I meet them and we're kind of sharing interests. I don't do that with video games though. I may talk about a game that I liked, but I won't like go out and buy Super Mario Brothers for the SNES for a buddy.
Well, you kind of can't do that anymore either. Not really.
Right.
Like if you're talking about old stuff, if you can only do it if you still have it on hand by some miracle. or emulators, and it definitely isn't gonna. It's not gonna. Nothing's gonna track that.
Right. And even the BS of, does this person play games on computer or do they play it on console? Are they okay with an emulator? If I got them an emulator, where got to get a thumb drive, got to get the games on it. So introducing someone to a book, introducing someone to music, introducing someone to television, movies, is infinitely easier than introducing them to a game that kind of got you along the way, which I think is interesting. So the history of video games, and I think we take it for granted. We take it for granted that like a game of our past that we used to smash into an NES or an Atari, like there must be infinite cartridges out there, right? And we have to have that data backed up on a hard drive somewhere, right? But the computers that were used to make those, the artists who made the original artwork and concept artwork, the people who were composing the music, like we didn't have a bunch of servers to back everything up on.
And even if we did, like the software running on those servers is so massively outdated that it would not surprise me if some of those companies were just like, it's a 20-year-old IP. If we lose that data, no big deal. And then and just dumped it, It's just e-waste to them. That wouldn't surprise me. And there's plenty of issues. Like if you are in the like music scene for video games, like this, you cannot get a properly recreated sound chip for like the old Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like think of a music snob and then crank it up to 11 when they talk about like how the Yamaha sound chip in a Super Nintendo or in a Sega Genesis sounded compared to I forget the company that made the sound chip for the Super Nintendo, but like talking about the comparison there for like the actual development of the sounds that they used
right
for those games.
I lost my thought.
It's like the development for the software too, right? Like what did a dev kit look like for someone making an NES game? Like how would any of that stuff is it even possible to really get your hands on a dev kit that works, that you can interface with easily these days?
And they were
probably not.
They were saying when we covered this last time, they were saying that their biggest problem is not the AAA title of the time, not the AA title of the time, but like the indie studio that made like 4 games ever for the Super Nintendo, and then that studio shut down, or made 1 game ever and shut down. Like I've brought up time and time again, the Game Boy Advanced McDonald's training game that was a prototype, shit like that. It's like, I mean, I can't remember how many games there were made for the Super Nintendo. It's like over like 2,000 or something. I don't know. That's maybe a grievous overestimation. But I think that's the thing, is also we might look at games like, why would that game matter? It was 1 game made by 1 indie studio. The weird thing is like the best game that you've never played may have already come and gone, and it just didn't have good distribution. It didn't have good marketing. It didn't have good advertisements. The studio that made it was unknown. Maybe the game was glitchy on release, something like that. But we'll never know. And I think that as gamers is such a, I almost wanted to call it a responsibility, but I think it's, to me, this might be getting too sappy about it, but it's kind of a responsibility, but also kind of like a privilege. I mean, the regular Nintendo was like the console when I was born, and the Super Nintendo was like the console I first played at like 5 years old. And then the Xbox, or excuse me, the N64 was kind of like my first console. That was just for me. So I feel like I've kind of grown with. It feels like I kind of grew with gaming, especially PC gaming. Like computer gaming was kind of growing as I grew, and I felt like I kind of aged with it. So I think if you're in that like 30 to 40-year-old range, like it's kind of weird to think that you're as old as the internet. You're as old as gaming. Gaming came before, obviously servers and stuff came before, so it's not exact, but if you're a gamer who's that age right now, I mean,
You've evolved together.
yeah. And what a thing to, at first I was like, I kind of want to participate in the Game History Foundation myself. I want to promote as much as I can. I'm like, I want to purchase this magazine subscription, like anything I can do to help, please. Now I'm thinking, because these guys are West Coast based, I'm thinking it might be a fun retirement project to make an East Coast chapter of the same of the same foundation.
That would be baller, yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be as intense because they have a very intense team. It doesn't have to be as intense, but it might be more people might be more willing to ship more crates of stuff if they don't have to ship it continentally. If they don't
from West Coast to East Coast.
Yeah, if someone's in like South Carolina and they've got a garage full of stuff and they're like, I just simply cannot ship this garage full of stuff to California, then I could just drive up there and grab it.
Yeah. Absolutely awesome.
Yes. So anything that we can do, and I was thinking, you know what? I've got this platform, I will I'll keep this subscription going and we'll have this conversation at least once a month. And that's as much as I can do right now, and I think that's pretty decent. We'll do it together as a community.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna get a PO box set up, so that way we can pool stuff together, and I can ship something out to the Video Game History Foundation as like a bundle or something. I don't know. I think anyone can ship them anything. We may be getting a team member on the podcast in the future too, which I'm pretty excited about. Then we can actually really pick their brains. I would love to just ask the question, what can my community do right now? What can we do?
Ask not what your podcast can do for you, but what you can do for your podcast.
Yeah, really. So they got this research library going, building the country's first dedicated library for the study of video game history. We offer near complete sets of most North American video game magazines going back to the late 1970s, as well as international publications, foreign language magazines, history and art books, and a wide range of rare historical material. Awesome. Awesome. That it's not being shoved in a closet somewhere. That I imagine they have one of every thing here kind of tucked away. So this is probably just the other one of every. Pretty cool, though. Source code preservation. We believe that there is no better way to study how a game was made than access to its raw materials. We are actively collecting and preserving historical source code and assets, including development tools, raw art, and documentation. In some cases, we've even used these collections to bring lost games back to life, which is fantastic. Public education. We don't just preserve materials, we show the world what can be done with them. I aspire to have this be what the wall behind me looks like. Getting the gears turning. Our blog contains world-class historical research. Our podcast teaches history. Our pop-up museum exhibits let the public get up close with the past. Throughout history, the video game media has been privy to an abundance of art and information that today is priceless for study and preservation. We are actively working with current and former editors and journalists to capture as much of that raw material as possible. Our archives house a series of special collections, typically large archival donations from individuals or companies in and around the video game industry, representing a behind-the-scenes look at their work. This includes concept art, source code, marketing, and promotional materials, and of course, the games themselves. This is my favorite stuff about the whole thing. Looking at concept art and looking at like hand-drawn notes during the development process is my favorite. I drink that stuff up. Seeing all the phases of that Yoshi went through before Yoshi made it into a video game is so interesting. Our archives are a trusted source of video game companies to turn to for recovery of lost material. The collection has benefited retroactive efforts from companies like Limited Run Games, Bethesda, SNK, Capcom, and Disney, which is cool. I like this restoration picture. It's pretty neat. Working with the team at Game Informer, this is going to be a Game Informer magazine, to help document and preserve decades of priceless materials used to produce the magazine, going all the way back to its debut in 1991. Wait, they said that the magazine could be from the 80s, so maybe it would be an older one. In 2019, we embark on a massive 5-week archival mission, digitalizing over 25 terabytes of historical information. I like that a lot. Digitalizing all the magazines and all the archives, and spreading the word. So the Game History Foundation are a bunch of G's. They are awesome. They're doing good stuff. We're fans. Hopefully they'll become fans of ours someday, because I would love to chat with them. I want to be on a first name basis with the Video Game History Foundation. That's my goal for 2023. I don't know why I have attached to this so heavily. Is it over the top, Sage? Am I over the top on this?
Nah, I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
I am all about this as well. This is like great stuff. I love, the history of, because it's a little bit nostalgic, right? Because again, I grew up playing the Super Nintendo and the 64 and Game Boy Color. So like this is all very nostalgic for me, but it's also like fascinating history. And as more someone whose tastes in content has matured, like I'm fascinated by the business side of things now as well. So like to do deep dives into the history of like how some of these companies were formed and how their dev teams changed and worked on different projects and overcame certain challenges and stuff, or the development of the games themselves, like the coding of it. And like it's all incredibly fascinating. It is to me now. And I kind of want to plug a YouTube channel.
Yeah, go for it.
Because this is like what they're all about. It's a YouTube channel called Game Hut. They're like a lead programmer or one of the bigger programmers for Traveler's Tales back when they were a thing. So they worked on a ton of different old school games in the 16-bit era.
This one here?
Yes, yep.
Game Hut.
Yep, they have a lot of videos that talk about like little things that they did to make like stuff that shouldn't, normally work, that were very challenging to program, and like how they had to kind of work within the confines of the game's hardware limitations and the creative ways they came up with solutions to do like 3D-ish stuff on like purely 2D based hardware and stuff like that. And they're fascinating. It's
interesting. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of these coding secrets. Oh, they get really into it.
Yeah, like I said, like he actually worked on that stuff.
I was gonna say they were showing the actually breaking down. Oh, that's so cool. Like how they basically forced the tech to work.
Yep, it's like a deep dive with numbers and shit, and it's really cool.
Cool, I like that. Yeah, no, good plug.
Plug. Something to check out if you're curious.
Freaking nerd.
I know, right?
All right. I was gonna like try to keep. I was like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the foundation for about a half hour. It ain't gonna happen. I've got to open this. Here it is.
Here we go. The time has come.
You can't see it though. You're gonna have to watch it with stream.
That's fine. It's only a little bit behind.
Here we go. I'm excited. We're opening it up. A piece of history. Now, again, we were told this is going to be from somewhere between the 80s and the 90s. I've advocated for this group so much. If this contains some bullshit, I'm going to be mildly upset.
A bit of a sad panda.
I am crossing my fingers for a 1989 anything or a 1998 anything. Either my birth year or 89 or 98 would be like, I'm like 8-9 years old and looking at Game Informer magazines for the first time, and so it'd be a little nostalgia, a little bit of nostalgia. For some reason, I feel like I am not coming through my microphone loud enough, so I apologize.
Oh, fine.
Apologize if I don't. Okay. What do we got? Oh, it's backwards. Wait. Oh, I thought it was gonna have the cover facing out. It says stop. I forgot that my camera is mirrored. It's gonna drive me crazy, but I'll unmirror it for the sake of you guys being able to see it. Stop. Don't let this be your last issue. It's a monthly subscription, so I don't know. It's in a really nice plastic bag, and I've got something special for you guys. Kaboom! Wait, hold on. Not kaboom yet. Kaboom! There we go. Haha, took me a pretty stupid amount of time to set this up. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Yeah, looks pretty okay. And in the back we have a certificate of authenticity that was signed by Frank, who is the founder and co-director. Oh, it's actually Frank, the guy who founded the place. And Kelsey Lewin, who I think is the librarian, if memory serves me. It's got a really nice little seal on it. I'm gonna try not to damage this piece of history here. Let's
think of the resale value.
This certificate of authenticity is really nice. It's actually got like a nice imprinted stamp on it. Really nice artwork on the back of their logo. And it says, this certifies that the item included in this package is a genuine piece. I mean, this is obviously not a certificate of authenticity that means anything because it says that which is in this bag. I mean, it's, it's cute though. Genuine piece of video game history, which has been, what is that? Desessioned from the archives of the Video Game History Foundation. Occasionally, items like this are desessioned when they are no longer needed, or when we house a duplicate. All sales of desessioned, I don't know if I'm saying that word right. I'm going to say desessioned. Desessioned items directly benefit the upkeep and growth of our collection. So there you go. Nice. You know what? I like this. Feels good. Hopefully we'll have many, many, many of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Decession, noun, withdrawal, departure, decrease. Yeah, that's...
Comes with a very strong piece of cardboard on the back. I don't know. You can probably see that even on the stream. It's thick. So a nice brace for the back of it. I'm going to lift this out so hopefully you guys can see it as I see it. Oh. That's interesting. Okay, the magazine is in like a sleeve. Wait. No way. This stop, don't let this be your last issue, is the actual front page of the magazine. So when you got this in the in the mail back in the day, this would be the first thing you saw. I thought this was something they put, but it's actually part of the binding. This is a electronic game monthly magazine. What year? From 1991. I was born in 89. So I was 2 years old when this came out. Let's get a look at that cover. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. I'm excited. I am instantly excited. This magazine was $3.95. You getting a look at this, Sage?
Oh, you're just about to open the magazine itself on the stream. So I'm about to see it.
Okay. I don't want to ruin it for you, so I'm going to wait. This is so good. This is... Don't tear up, Mike. Don't tear up. I'm actually... I don't know. Making me a little emotional. I don't know.
EGM Super NES Buyer's Guide. Oh,
there it is.
Nice.
Not only did we get an electronic gaming monthly, which is the superior. No offense to anyone who loves Game Informer. Game Informer is nice. The superior magazine. It is in pristine condition. It still has the advertisement page, which most people would have ripped this off. Yeah, and just like SK said, it's also probably serving the second purpose of keeping the proper cover protected. So this cover is mint.
Great.
You guys might not be able to see it on stream, but this is mint.
Perfection.
The edges have nothing wrong with them. It still has its original like glossy layer. It says super preview, over 100 game previews in here.
Man, that's a chef's kiss if I ever saw one.
I was worried that it was going to be... I am... I'm going to turn into a baby up here. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got the Sega Genesis with like the 15 upgrades you had to get for it, where you stacked the thing
So
on top
ridiculous.
of the thing on top of the thing, the giant mountain that had a CD drive and...
Yeah, so you could play Sonic CD and a handful of like... What was it? The motion video type games.
Yeah, it's
That's the only
the
way they could fit them.
is that the
and
Sega 16-bit with the Mega CD expansion? Oh my
Mega
goodness.
CD, and then they had the there's the 32X little top thing.
Man, I was 2 years old when this came out. 2.
Just a wee tyke.
I had been on this face of this earth for less than 24 months when this thing released. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Just initially touching and turning the pages, these pages have zero crease. They have full bounce. I don't know that this has ever been opened before. This was probably like in a crate with like 100 of them. Oh my goodness. So the first thing I see is NASCAR coming to the Game Boy in August. So it's old school. NASCAR Fast Track by Konami. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Oh, there's a bigger picture of that ridiculous Genesis setup. I forgot how ridiculous these magazines were. Stormlord, Thrill 2, Beautiful Entombed. Wait, Thrill 2, Beautiful Entombed Princesses, Chill 2, Psychotic Death-Dealing Sorcerers, Spill 2, Deranged Draconian Fire Dogs, Run like hell from hideous head-stomping hobgoblins. 4 megabit, 16-bit graphics. Oh, man. I can't... And the funny thing is, you know, everything on here, I mean, these are games to come. You know? Some wrestling game for the Game Boy not color. Oh, let's see. What's this? Oh, interface. Letters to the editor. 1920 Highland Avenue, Lombard, Illinois. Here's your chance to sound off. Send us your compliments, complaints, gripes, and overall opinions. We'd love to get them. If the editor likes your letter enough, he may even print it. Send all letters to blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Neo Geo price cuts. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. How that makes me think. How cool would it be if you had actually sent like a letter to one of these magazine companies and you actually got your letter like printed in the magazine in that little section that they sometimes have, and then years later you subscribe to this service.
Oh, yeah.
And you actually get like the magazine that has your your letter in it. The odds are so astronomical, but man, I would cry.
So cool. A lot of the stuff in here is... I've got 3 burning questions I need to ask you about the Genesis CD-ROM. Can I play music CDs? Can I play turbo CDs? What is the earliest I can buy it? And Electronic Gaming Monthly responded with... Ever since we broke the news of the super peripheral way back, the Sega CD-ROM, in issue 15 last year, questions have been pouring in by the hundreds each and every month. Information has been very hard to come by. On June 6th at Tokyo Toy Show, Sega officially unveiled the super peripheral to the public. Of course, EGM was there, and we came back with lots of photos, a complete set of specs, and a long list of new CD games. Don't miss our special. They did not answer that question at all. They did the opposite of answer the question.
They just kind of plugged themselves a bit.
It's crazy to think that something we would just Google search right now, they were sending their questions in by mail to a magazine publisher, hoping that the answer to their question would be one of like 5 selected to be answered in the pages of the next issue, and they have to wait for it to come out.
A whole month? God.
If their question was even selected.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just don't get to know.
I mean, next time.
Phantasy Star was just a warm-up. Might and Magic. Is this an original Might and Magic ad? If you thought Phantasy Star had a lot to offer, welcome to Brave New World of Might and Magic. It's the most advanced fantasy role-playing game yet. With the most magic, most monsters, the most weapons, the most advanced character development of any Genesis game. Wow. Battle 250 different creatures, 4 times the amount of Phantasy Star. Visit your retailer. They included a 1-800 number to order the game.
Man, yeah, because the advertising for games back then were very, very gung ho on like numbers. Just the spectacle of biggest world yet, most enemies ever.
Right. The magazine is cut off, like the print on the edge of it here. There's like There's actual words cut off. It's pretty cool.
A misprint.
Frankenstein, the Monster Returns, made by Bandai for the Nintendo Entertainment System. PGA Tour. This magazine's kind of fun. Like, just the... It's almost got Mad Magazine vibes to it. Super Nintendo, Super Mario Bros. 4. Type Action Levels 96. Release in September. Difficulty average. Man, so interesting. It's got a little advertisement still in here. Quantum Fighter by Nintendo.
Oh man, this just like reminds me of back in the day with like the GameCube. I got like it was like a little booklet, like a little mini magazine.
Oh shit, these are ratings.
It wasn't. Oh, they're actually doing ratings on there?
Yeah. So they have, it looks like 4, I see. So 4 editors of the magazine. Yeah. Okay. It took me a second to understand what I was looking at. So they have this, see if I can do this without knocking my thing over. They have this about our ratings. It's 10 is perfect, 9 is outstanding, 8 is excellent, 7 is very good, 6 is above average, 5 is average, 4 is fair, 3 is poor. So they go on a 3 to 10 scale, with 5 being average. Oops. I don't know if that camera is going to focus. Yeah. So the first one was Super Mario Bros. And they gave it a 9 down the board. And I gotta say, I don't know what is Super Mario. Is Super Mario Bros. 4 just Super Mario Brothers for the Super Nintendo? I think it might be.
No, I think that's what they were calling Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it was before they kind of finalized the name or something along that line.
They gave F-Zero 2 8s and 2 9s. Final Fight was mostly 7s. Streets of Rage got 9s down the board.
So many classics.
What else we got here? Fantasia? Oh, with Mickey Mouse. I remember that. Fantasia with Mickey Mouse got 6s. Sorry, everything's happening on the page that's not facing the camera. 6s and 5s. Alien Storm, I don't remember. 6s and 7s. I'm so happy about this magazine. Robin Hood the Game, crazy reviews. Look at that. 4, 7, 4, 8. They're all over the place. Okay, so listen to this. This is Robin Hood the Game for the Super Nintendo. Cool if you like the movie. You'll love this adventure. Taken directly from the movie template, Robin Hood makes you feel like you are actually playing the movie by following the action scene by scene. In other words, it's a tremendous translation of the home entertainment screen. That review means nothing to me. I don't understand what that means. Silly. What a silly review. We got Mega Man for the Game Boy. This is one type of game that will actually get me to pick up a Game Boy and play for hours on end. Sure, Mega Man is just like the NES version, but we get a whole new slew of challenges in a format that is portable. The graphics, sound, and action of Mega Man are all top-notch. Okay. Interesting. It looks like Mega Man got the highest reviews of any Game Boy game.
And it's what, technically a remake or a port?
Yeah, technically a port. Super Sega savings, save $10 with coupon.
Hey, adjusted for
More
inflation, that's like $50.
more bits for your buck. Bigger crisp color screen. Awesome graphics. Tons of games, and it's a mail-in coupon. And it's cut off on the bottom. Can you do me a flavor?
Eh?
What is $139 adjusted for inflation? From 1991. Prepare to butt heads again. Oh, Bonk's Revenge. Nice. Man. What's super interesting is how, like, back in the day, like, it was wild. Like, there wasn't just remake upon remake upon remake or game upon game upon game that just all of the protagonists look the same and everything is, you know, looking the same. Like, they were going wild.
$300.
So it's $300 for a Sega.
Yeah, just shy. The calculator I used is specifically $298 and 67 cents. So, $300.
Tailgater. Shadow of the Ninja. What's this? Gaming gossip. New 64-bit system announced from Atari. New CD-ROM technology. Sony PlayStation to debut in 1992. Super NES release date announced. Wait, Super NES release date announced and Sony PlayStation to debut. In my mind, the PlayStation is not announced in the same sentence as the release of the Super NES. Are those two things like way closer to each other than I thought they were? I guess they have to be. By the time you get through Phantasy Star 3, you'll get married, grow old, and die 3 times. That's a heck of an advertisement.
Yeah.
And it's just got a picture of a dead body as the bold marketing.
Yeah, they're about 4 years apart. At least the official release date, right? So the Super Famicom released in Japan 1990 November. PS1 was released in Japan December 3rd, 1994. So about a 4-year difference. But I think PS1 announced the PlayStation name and its final design were confirmed during a press conference May of 1994.
Sony's PlayStation, a Super Famicom CD-ROM system. The big news at CES was the announcement by Nintendo that it would not support the new CD-ROM format being developed by Sony for the Super Famicom. Called PlayStation, this was to be Nintendo's answer to the Sega and the NEC CD-ROM units. Sony has stated that it will still do the project even without software support from Nintendo. Nintendo instead signed a deal with Philips for a CDI unit that would interface with the SNES. The hardware is done, the work on the software has begun. Super Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong are some of the characters already licensed for CDI software development.
God, would we have gotten Zelda CDI
I
without?
don't know if right there. You guys can maybe see it on screen. This is the Sony's PlayStation, a Super Famicom CD-ROM system. So the PlayStation that they're talking about is actually a Nintendo product with Sony being licensed to make the hardware. So it sounds like Sony was just supposed to make a CD-ROM
Accessory,
for
yeah.
the Famicom. I didn't know that.
Nintendo backed out, and so Sony was like, "Fuck you, we'll just make it into our own console eventually."
And it sounds like something called the NID CD-ROM console. I can't get it on the screen. Well, right there. It's like a giant cube with a wire coming out of it. It's a prototype console that never came out. A new ultra high resolution monitor TV interfaces with the PCE Duo. Nice. 64 kilobits to 2 megabits. It will be called the Super System Card version 3.0. Wow, so interesting. It's crazy that they're talking about the brand new technology, the CD-ROM.
Yeah, it was big. It was big back in the day.
Do you know what's nuts is this right here. I've seen a few pictures of this throughout the magazine so far. It is it's a Sega handheld, the Sega Game Gear.
I wanted one of those so bad back in the day.
This is, you cannot convince me that this is not just a Steam Deck. Because that's what this is. It's just a Steam Deck.
Steam Deck's a great grandpappy.
The Game Gear. International Outlook, news, previews, and info from around the electronic gaming world. We got the Tokyo Show, Zelda 3 for the Super Famicom, as we know it to be a Link to the Past, was announced. Mega Man 4 for the Famicom. Galaxy Force 2 for the Mega Drive. So crazy. Let me make sure I'm getting this in here. You guys are getting the worst side. All the information is on the left side. You are getting some pretty good pictures of old advertisements, though. Shoot to Thrill, Vice, Project Doom. What does that even mean?
Fucking high energy.
Just people screaming.
Level up 1,000,000%.
Oh, cool. So they're kind of showing off the choose your own adventure style of Mega Man. Our hero Mega Man is back in his fourth and most perilous adventure yet, featuring all new mazes loaded with a new batch of mechanical monstrosities just waiting to pounce on him. But Mega Man will have to help in addition to new arsenal of weapons. Could his nemesis, Dr. Wily, be behind all of the mayhem that is going on? We'll just have to wait a while longer before we find out. 8 new mega robots to beat. Will Dr. Wily be back?
It's still so crazy to me that they pumped out 6 Mega Man games for the NES. Like, in the main line, it was 1 through 6, and then 7 they released on the Super Nintendo, and then 8 they released on the PlayStation 1. They went from having 6 Mega Man games on a console generation to having 1.
Oh,
Granted, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic.
This one went vertical. See if I can get it all on the screen. Barely. Dragon Warrior 3. Enix America Corporation.
Oh, before they were bought by Squaresoft. Or before Squaresoft bought them or whatever.
Let's see, it's Enix America Corporation, Nintendo Entertainment, and Super Nintendo Entertainment Systems. Registered trademarks of Nintendo of America. It's weird to think that, like, there's a universe where Final Fantasy is in a Nintendo game.
Right?
Oh, you know what? It's also weird to think that PlayStation could have been just the name of a Nintendo console.
Yeah. Or like just a very tight partner to Nintendo. Like if all their consoles, like instead, man, like they would basically be a monopoly at that point, you know, until Microsoft jumped into the fray. I'm sure every generation would have a few like the turbo graphics and stuff like that would kind of try and not really take off, but you'd have a monumental megalith of, you know, now the Nintendo and Sony, you know, hybrid child Superstation 64.
Yeah, right. Can you do another conversion for me?
Yeah, sure.
$400. Immediate availability, the Super Famicom. $399. $860 for a Super Famicom. Holy shit.
Yep.
Could you imagine if the PlayStation 6 came out and they said it will cost you $800?
Yeah.
People would lose their minds. That is crazy. No wonder they take a loss on everything they sell. What's this? I think this is games coming out. For next day delivery or product information, call. Oh, these are games you can order through the phone. That is so interesting. And they have a list of the games available. It's like an ad for a game store. Die Hard. This advertisement has a lot of black on purple. Of course, through the camera, it looks blue. It's definitely purple, though. Ooh, the ultimate gaming rig. Are you ready to see an advertisement for the ultimate gaming rig?
Oh, for like PC gaming?
No.
Oh, it's a console ultimate gaming rig. Hell yeah.
It's... Oh, man, what am I seeing? I'm seeing speakers. I'm seeing a lot of Sega stuff. I'm seeing a giant tube television. And there's this sound stack. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got like an equalizer, 5 CD disc changer. There's like an entire musical 3D something fucking iPod Nano probably does everything that did. So cool, though. The ultimate gaming rig, over $18,000 in prizes. You have the power in this contest. You don't rely on the luck of the draw. You determine it. You win by outscoring others in a game of skill. Can you solve the puzzle below? Yeah, I just look up my Wordle for today.
What you said? $18,000
in prizes. Let's see here. Yeah.
So that's $38,676 in today's currency.
If someone today won $30,000 gaming rig, it would be bananas. Absolutely fucking bananas. So our prizes are worth less now, and our consoles are cost less. Wow, gaming was fucking expensive, man.
Yeah.
It was a bougie thing.
That's why we only got like 1 or 2 games a year.
Super NES Video Game Buyer's Guide. Over 30 games reviewed. Mega photos and previews. Mega photos. What does that even mean? This is a phone number. Where do you turn for the first info on electronic gaming reviews, gossip, tricks, previews, high scores, and international news? Pick up the phone and become a video VIP. Oh boy, this is really hard to read. They put text over pictures and it looks awful. $1 per minute. Get the scoop on the hottest info on only Electronic Gaming Monthly can deliver. So you can call them for
call them right now.
All sorts of stuff. I'm assuming it's a disconnected number. It is a 900 number though.
Pull out your phone and call them up.
I have my phone out. So what is this? This is I haven't used my phone as a phone in a long time, so I'm not sure how to do it. 1-900 740 7722. Could
Sad.
not connect that call. Unfortunately, the number that's almost as old as me is not no longer connected.
Worth a try.
How will I ever know my cheat codes now? Introduction to the Super NES. The long wait for the Super Nintendo is almost over. Within 1 month, the unit should start appearing in stores around the country. Hopefully, the SNES won't be a surprise to anyone, as the staff here at Electronic Gaming Monthly has been actively covering the development of this spectacular system since issue number 2 back in June of 1989. The Super Famicom, its Japanese counterpart, has been wildly successful since it was released last November, selling over 1.5 million units in less than 6 months. The Super Famicom has taken Japan by storm. The main unit has undergone a variety of cosmetic changes. You know what's fucking nuts to think about? How many copies of, I guess you could say, of Baldur's Gate 3 have been sold so far? It's been out for 4 days.
Not even a week. Not even a week. Yeah.
Can you get those numbers?
Yeah, I can Google them up real quick.
Let's see. The most obvious change is the shape of the casting. A more futuristic looking design was used to make the Super NES look more like an advanced piece of equipment rather than a child's toy. The unit is accented with shades of purple. For example, the buttons on the controller are no longer in 4 colors, but in 2 shades of purple. Interesting. The Super NES will officially be available in the United States September 1991. See here. All
right. According to this,
go for it.
Says 3.2 million units sold. 73.7 hours of average playtime so far.
Oh man, how much was it sold?
3.2 million.
Can you? What is 3.2 million divided by 4?
Divided by 4. Calculator time. 3.2 divided by 4 equals 0.8.
So 800,000?
800,000. Yep.
So they have sold an average of 800,000 copies of that game, presumably at full price, for the past 4 days.
This is see, that's the thing. This is just Steam stats, which I'm assuming is the largest.
I think if we go off of Steam stats, we could assume all other copies sold everywhere else maybe covers pre-orders. Maybe. I don't know. That's a weird comparison because I pre-ordered mine forever ago. But the point being that they're talking about, like, this is big news that they sold 1.5 million units in 6 months. And if you think about, like, that was the state of gaming then. Now we're selling 800,000 plus copies of a single game daily. Just the astronomical insurge of gamers. And I like it because Baldur's Gate 3 is a gamer's game. It's not a, you know, if you just play Candy Crush every now and then, or you play Call of Duty every now and then, or you play, you know, NCAA every now and then, you're probably not the target audience for Baldur's Gate 3. So I think you get like a good feel for, you know, the excited gaming community. Of course, it also speaks to the uptick of people playing Dungeons and Dragons since COVID times. A lot of really just crazy callbacks in here. Populous, Super Deformer, never heard of that. Hole in One, Pilot Wings. I'm trying to look at like a game that got shit reviews. Super Mario World obviously got 9999.
I'm kind of honestly, I bet if they were to go back and review it, it would get at least 2 or 3 10s.
Yeah, what's crazy is the console's not even out.
And yeah, right.
And
it's just their review of it.
And that game shipped with the console. So, I mean,
Come on, Nintendo.
It's kind of cool that their console shipped with their best game. They put their best foot forward.
Yeah, come on, Nintendo. Where is that?
I'm seeing some 4s. 5 is average, man. So that looks
I don't think we've had a console war
T&E Golf
as good as the Super Nintendo versus the Sega Genesis. I don't think any of them have actually come close to the level of intenseness.
Kind of the ultimate.
Yeah.
Ooh, I almost ripped that page.
Well, don't do that.
That would have broke my heart. Super Gaming from the editors of Electronic Gaming. What magazine has the best info on Japan games and systems? Super Gaming. Order Japanese games directly from the pages of Super Gaming. Now you can purchase exciting foreign games that you can't understand through the mail. I added a little bit there.
I actually did play a few NTSC games. I think for the Super No, it was the Sega Genesis. I played I don't know how, but way back when I played one of the Contra games, the Sega the Japan version of one of the Contra games. And I thought it was so cool, but I had no idea what was going on. Because I can't read kanji.
Contra was so good. Navy SEALs, the game. Hand-to-hand combat. This is so neat. Roland's Curse. That looks very familiar, but I don't... It looks very familiar. Fight alone or use the link and play with a friend. They had multiplayer Game Boy games?
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know that. Huh.
I think most of the stuff they used could only be like kind of turn-based. I don't think they really had too much in...
I can only imagine calling in to one of these places for gaming tips, and you're playing a Super Nintendo game, and you're fucking stuck, and you've called this poor editor at this magazine who is like contractually obligated to help you play your game. They don't know anything about the game that you're playing, but they think Phil over in accounting has played that game, so they put you on hold, and they go get Phil, who's just trying to do his fucking job. But because they both work for this magazine that put their phone number in there, he's got to come over and talk you through the game. And you're sitting there playing phone tag, talking about a Super Nintendo game with Phil from accounting, trying to figure out what the fuck to do. He can't figure out where you're at in the game. You can't figure out what the fuck he's talking about. You're both getting pissed off. It's costing you $1 per minute. and just the rules of society are just crumbling. I just can't imagine that was a good idea. I have seen it in this magazine alone. I have seen a phone number for call for tips and tricks. I have seen it like 10 times. And I'm like, it must have been fucking wild that you just like, you're playing Legend of Zelda Link to the Past and you're like, I can't figure it out. And they're, what part are you at? And they're like, this game's only been out for 3 days. Only one of us have actually played it.
That had to have been like the early days of like selling personal information. Like if you called into one of those, even if there was a cost associated with the call itself, there had to be like they'd put your phone number on a list that they'd give out to like telemarketers or something like that. That's the only way that could have made any business sense.
Check this out. Zelda 3 for the Super Famicom before it was known as Link to the Past.
Super Zelda World.
Yeah. The colors are different. Some of them, or the magazine's old.
It's actually pretty common for palettes to be changed kind of last minute. I've seen a lot of old school magazines that advertised games, and then you see like unused sprites or sprites that have slightly alternate color palettes.
What is this? Totally Turbo, the total source for Turbo Graphics 16. Role-playing, Double Dragon, Noptia, Dungeon Explorer. Damn, Double Dragons was $59. A lot of these games were $59. A fuck ton of these games were $59.
Yeah, which is 126 in today's.
Man, it was $126 per game?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't like to buy a game unless it's like $15. I like wait for Steam sales.
Right?
It'll be free on Epic Games someday.
It's like, what does that say about society?
Tricks of the trade. Top secret video game tricks, codes, and strategies. Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis. Stage select. You can select any level you want in the amazing game. To do this, simply go to the title screen and press up, down, left, right. You'll hear a small ring sound. Then all you have to do is hold the A button and press start, and you can select any level you want.
So legit. I only did that a few times though. Sonic 3.
Blown.
Now Sonic 3, I did the level select all the time for that. That was really fun to do level select and debug in and just fuck around.
Let's see. Max out your lives. You can max out your lives in many different places in the game. Here's the easiest one we found. Play up to level 1-2. Once on this level, you can get the 1-up on top of the loop-to-loop. Get the invincible stars and jump over the lamppost. Collect over 100 rings for an additional level up. And then throw yourself onto the spikes. When you start your next life, you will be able to repeat this all over again. Repeat until you have as many lives as you want.
Yeah, as long as you never hit the goalpost.
Huh. I feel like that's farming for sure. Ooh, Bard's Tale. Bard's Tale was an awesome game. That was a 3D perspective, like Eye of the Beholder was a lot like Bard's Tale for the Super Nintendo. One of those like kind of first 3D games that were very hard to play.
The dungeon crawlers, right? Like
Yeah.
you went kind of room by room,
Yeah.
node by node, and it was kind of sort of in 3D. Yeah.
The original Souls-like game for the NES. Because you explored these dungeons and you'd run into creatures that like the game didn't care what your level was. If you ran into a room and there was a beholder there and your party was level 1, y'all got fried, you got reset to level 1. It's actually worse than Dark Souls in that if your party member got killed, they were killed forever. And if your party got wiped out, you restarted the game. I mean,
a Souls game if it was a roguelike.
Yeah, exactly.
Base.
Fucking A. What's this?
Yeah.
We got some
Anything
coupons.
that was... Ooh, coupons!
This month's specials for Sega Genesis are sizzling hot. Spider-Man, battle some of Spider-Man's deadliest enemies. In this action-packed 6 meg title. So weird that they put the size of it in there. Only $50 USD. Phantasy Star 3, your adventure continues in this action-packed, challenging new sequel for only $70. Oh my goodness. What's that, like $140 for Phantasy Star?
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you fucking fathom?
Yep.
Like Final Fantasy 20 comes out, and they tell you it's a revolutionary game. It's got the base game's got 400 play hours.
3 discs.
13 discs. It's the game is 2 terabytes and it takes 400 hours to beat, and they're charging like $160 for the game. I wonder how many people would do it.
I wonder. Man. Let's see. How much did Riven cost when it first came out?
Hey, buy 2 get 1 free. You know what you do? You buy 2 Phantasy Stars, get a 3rd Phantasy Star free, and sell the 3rd one. Half off games. Or you'd sell 2 of them. CFI phone counseling hotline. Look at this. Look at this. This is what I've been seeing as I flip through this. FCI, Fujenki Communications International, New York, New York. Dr. Chaos, Xanic, and Lunar Pool are trademarks of Communications International. So, get the latest tips, scores, and info on FCI video games. Put your name on the FCI mailing list. So if you played Ultima back in the day, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, you could just call and talk about Ultima with the developers. It's insane to think that the game developers, you had like their fucking phone number was just out in the world. It is bananas. Electronic Gaming Monthly $10 Great Game Giveaway. Enter to win. Ooh, some kind of weird claymation thing. Nintendo player, play it again. Oh, I see. Selling and buying games. You could sell and buy games through the magazine. A game guide to let you know when things are releasing. When is Legend of Zelda coming out? Is it on there? Legend of Zelda, April 10th. Join our Game Dude Club. Thousands of people use Verdict tele-reviews. What does that mean? What is this? Upcoming reviews for TG-16 Bomberman, Sherlock Holmes. Oh, interesting. So you give a review? You call and give a review of a game? I'm so confused because it says it's $1.25 for the first minute and 95 cents per additional minute. Oh. Okay. I don't know. I have no clue what I'm looking at there. We're almost at the end of the magazine. I'm obviously not going to read everything because there's just A lot going on here. It does seem like the game reviews are roughly one paragraph a piece. So like just to throw a random one out there, here's it came from Desert Neck. Combine real actors with a graphic adventure game and put on a high memory CD and you have one of the most innovative games ever created. So it seems like the reviews were kind of nothing burgers.
They were more like advertisements than reviews.
Yeah, they definitely seem. So here's Marvel Land by Namco. Looks are very deceiving with this cart. While appearing like a cute game, this soft requires great technique to master the different levels. Worth trying. That's a fucked review. It looks cute. Requires great technique. It's worth. So weird. Game reviews have come a long way.
Yeah. Well,
Paperboy. A review for Paperboy. I love Paperboy.
Classic.
Hop on your bike and hit the sidewalks in order to get all the papers delivered. Watch out for dogs, cards, and wild lawnmowers. That's it. That's the review.
It's not a review. It's a promo.
They're all promos. Everything in here is a promo.
You gotta imagine these early magazines were probably mostly managed and edited by people who had been in the magazine business for a while. So they didn't really have passion for video games. They just kind of knew how to make it marketable,
And
for
the back
business
of the magazine
clients.
is a advertisement for Crystal Quest. Take your Game Boy where it's never been before. Crystal Quest. And then the back of the fake cover thing is don't let yourself get unplugged. Resubscribe to EGM and get 12 issues at our special charter rate of only $18.97. How much is $18.97? Because I hear $18.97 and I'm like, that's what I paid for this magazine.
$40.
$40 for a year-long subscription, huh?
Yeah.
Man. This offer is over 50% off the newsstand price. So $80 a year, about $100 a year for this magazine. For a year subscription. I love that cover art though. Super NES buyer's guide, nice golden border. It's almost a shame that the "Stop, don't let this be your last issue" is what's on top, but I don't have the heart to tear it off. Would I be the worst person ever if I bent it backwards?
That would be an unforgivable sin.
And then put it back in the sleeve so I can see this instead of the stop sign. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get shit for it, but I'm gonna do it. Someone's gonna give me shit for it. But this plastic bag will protect it. And I kind of want to put the certificate of authenticity in there. But it will cover up a lot of the pretty, stuff. Gotta do it though. Oh no! The certificate of authenticity is wider than the bag. So I have to stick it in vertical. Oh, I don't like that. Which part do you think should be facing down, Sage? Do you think I don't even know. Whatever way that I do this, I'm going to do it for every one of them, so probably Got to figure it out the first time. Man. Okay. Certificate of authenticity is going in the back. Why would they do that? They made it wider than the bag it goes in. Unless it's just like super snug and I'm trying to be too careful. Is it just super snug? Come on now. Oh, don't rip anything. Don't crease anything. No, it is like ever so slightly wider than the bag it came in. That's a little silly. That's okay though. It'll go in the back, facing out. It'd just be nice to have at least one of them on display. Maybe I'll get a little mini display for it or something. Can I reseal it? It resealed. There we go. Sealed up nice. Looking pretty. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that sleeve wall thing I was talking about.
That would be so cool.
And then depending on what year, maybe I'll just sort them by year or I'll sort them by when we received them. I couldn't ask for, I don't think I could have asked for better than that. I truly do not. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I mean, this is great. It's
That was fantastic.
Very interesting to see something to look through a magazine that in a lot of ways is older than me. You know, I was 2, so I mean, I was a baked potato, you know, like there wasn't a lot going on. Man, so cool. All right, let's very carefully set this aside. Yeah, I think having that stop sign thing would have sucked. Cool. Get your own magazine at the website. The Video Game History Foundation. Okay, I need... stop. I need to flip myself around them. Flip horizontal. There we go. I feel weird if I'm facing that way. And I'm going to move this webcam out of the way because the webcam's base was a tripod that was over top of my mouse for the past like 2 hours. So I've been moving my hand like with the top of my hand brushing against metal ever so slightly. Just enough to make me uncomfortable.
So just as a kind of a comparison, because this is the only thing I could really find, it doesn't look like EGM does like regular magazine subscriptions anymore. So just for comparison, a PC Gamer magazine, they did a promotion back in August of 2019, so even that's not super recent. A 3-month subscription was $6.50. So if let's just say times 4 for a 1 year, so that'd be $26 for 1 year of a magazine, compared to the $40 that it was back in '91. So about half. The value is about half.
Interesting. That's an interesting look at it.
And well, it's like it's no wonder that pretty much all of the magazines have switched to, like, if they still make magazines, most of them are like partnered to provide the magazine for free to like business clients. Like EGM, they have a contract with Walmart. They provide the free gaming magazines that you can find in like the electronics department for Walmart's. So I wonder if a lot of them have done that and then shifted all of their actual business type stuff. Like you subscribe to their online newsletters and stuff like that, you know, and they make more money off of affiliate links and stuff like that. That's crazy. It's crazy to think about because the value of a subscription was cut in half, but the prices of everything else, you know, prices of other things have gone up. So
Yeah,
They
very
had to make up, they had to
interesting.
make up the revenue, basically.
Of course,
Crazy.
there's a lot more demand now, so profit margins can probably stand to be lower. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about games, not so much magazines.
That's crazy.
So up on screen right here, this is the Castlevania collection
Castlevania.
from Limited Run Games, not a sponsor yet. And this is their 198th limited run since the company's conception. And we talked earlier about, oh, what was it? It was the Jurassic Park one.
Yeah, yep. That's one we looked at.
Their website is pretty, but kind of poopy to navigate. A bit poopy to navigate. I stand by my assessment of this from last time. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. But I did notice that they have released more versions, or they have more versions coming soon. When we last checked, I'm pretty sure all that we had up here was the Switch. And it looks like the man, the way they got this set up is very silly. Yeah, okay, so it's just the 4. It's the Switch, Xbox. It says Xbox limited run, but I mean this actually says PS4 and PS5 on it. Xbox Series X is what it's for. And there's the light up. What's on it? It looks like, I think it's just a few games. And according to this, it might just be 2 games. Nope, definitely more than 2 games. It probably says on here somewhere. Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues. Okay, so it is. Games collection will come with the following fan favorite titles originally released across NES, Game Boy, and SNES. Okay, yeah, so it's just 2 games. But I don't know. I like it. I think it's because all this stuff is officially licensed. It's one of those like, go get you an officially licensed copy. I'm really digging these. Sage, I'm sharing my screen with you, right?
Negative.
Shit, sorry. There we go. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This really cool reimagined artwork in a Super Nintendo style box for the Nintendo Switch. I love this. The way they did that.
Tickles the nostalgia bone, something.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It comes with, what? Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Ghoul Patrol. Comes with a save feature. So it looks like they added some features to the games. Achievements, 2-player mode, museum features, and save features. So it looks like they must have gotten the go-ahead to alter the game a bit. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. It does seem interesting to me because if you don't know about limited run games, you just wouldn't know that there is a version of Zombies Ate My Neighbors that you can only get in physical form that has a 2-player mode and achievements. I feel like if you were a console streamer, if you're someone who streams on Twitch or YouTube and console's what you do, this would be such a cool thing to do on stream. Because people be like, wait, you're playing what on what? And it has what features? Maybe people wouldn't be like that. I'd be like that. So Switch Limited Run Castlevania Advance Collection Ultimate Edition comes with all of this shit. 20 dual setup system cards. What is that? I don't know what that is. Dual setup system cards. No clue. Hand-drawn Game Boy Advance game maps by Jeremy Parch. Steel book, poster, the Nintendo Switch game, and then the box, the actual game box that it comes in is an actual shadow box, and it lights up and plays the game's theme music. And I thought that was a pretty good touch. If you're a collector, comes with all alternate cover sheets, comes with all of the Castlevania games, comprehensive soundtracks. Pretty neat. If you're a Castlevania fan, that's a pretty chunky. Now, we had said before that all their prices had been pretty good. I think this is, I think $174 for all that's a little much personally. But I do like their forever physical, their push for keeping physical gaming alive. Let's see here. It comes with Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissidence, Aria of Sorrow, Dracula X, and it looks like they added some new stuff, some quality of life features. Pretty neat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 games. I guess that's pretty okay. What is a dual setup system card? I do not know what that is. Collector comprehensive soundtrack. Yeah. Do we get it all? I think the shadow box as the actual box it shipped in is pretty neat. Physical copy of Castlevania for the Switch. Cool. Neat. Were you a Castlevania player, Sage?
I actually was not. I wasn't really even much of like a Metroidvania until college, actually. I had a roommate who was like, should totally play the original Metroid games because they were like one of his favorites, and got into it and absolutely loved the genre. Growing up, it was platformers, but it was like just the regular platformers, Sonic, Mario, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I same. I didn't do I basically from a very young age I just didn't like a lot of the side scroller, even like Mega Man. I don't know what it was about it. I really liked playing top down when I was younger. With like maybe Mario being an exception. And this is something we're going to come back to, but it looks like they got a license to do a Gargoyles remastered, Disney's Gargoyles. And I'm like, does that mean they're going to do a physical VHS or some shit?
Yeah.
It says, stay tuned, more information on the new Gargoyles remastered physical edition. But yeah, they got a Disney license, which is pretty impressive to me. Like, no one gets a license from Disney to do anything ever. Oops, don't add it to my cart. Dragon Prana. I don't know what Dragon Prana is either. It's got some like Final Fantasy vibes to it. Oh yeah, heavy Final Fantasy vibes. I don't know what it is. Nostalgia pixel art Gabeson worth modern times. Just trying to see if it told you like what it came out for originally. Pre-order. I don't know. No idea. Limited run. I like them. They got some interesting stuff. If any of you out there know anything about like websites like this, like limited run, I feel like if it's something, it's like, you know. If you don't know, I don't know how hard it would be to like learn about this thing's existence. But if you know about anything else like this, where there's like officially licensed stuff being made out there that's a little different, especially if it's got any kind of gaming historical value, even better.
Dragon Prana looks like it's actually an original title, so it's actually a new game.
Ah, okay. Okay. I was going to say I didn't recognize it at all. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES cassette soundtrack. Wow. That's, who the fuck wants that? Somebody, apparently. Is this Blade Run? Oh, they do VHS style. Oh, no, it's a box. That's nifty, though. It's a good idea. Okay, okay. I'll get off this. I've been sitting on it for a while. Oh, you ready to get some news in ya?
News feed. Feed on our news.
This is a... What did I call this segment? Crimes. So many crimes.
Crimes!
We're going to talk about people who have been doing crimes.
They've been doing stuff that may or may not, in these 48 contiguous United States, be somewhat illegal.
I think we have 3 crimes to talk about. The first one, very interesting. Thieves steal $300,000 worth of trading cards from North America's largest board game convention. Thieves launched a heist at North America's largest board gaming convention and stole $30,000 worth of product. It's funny that like this is the title, and then this is the opening sentence, as though you didn't read the title. As reported by Dicebreaker. Oh, it's a website. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is currently seeking help identifying 2 people of interest who are possibly involved in a theft at Gen Con. The event, which took place from August 3rd to 6th, was attended by the biggest names in the industry, also saw the debut of the highly anticipated Disney Lorcana trading card game, which was an absolute disaster. There was like, people were scalping sets of these cards from Gen Con for like $500. Fucking nuts. Though its launch was not affected by the theft. The alleged thieves reportedly acquired a pallet jack before moving a pallet of trading cards while vendors were setting up their Gen Con stalls. The IMPD said the cards were moved to an unknown location and remain missing. Trading card thefts are becoming more and more common, perhaps unsurprising since a single card can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. If not a couple million, yeah. Though it's unclear which trading card products were taken, whether it was Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh, or otherwise, Pokemon cards are perhaps stolen most regularly. Tokyo police reported I keep seeing something on the corner of my eye. An unprecedented number of trading card thefts in the latter half of 2022, while an independent gaming store in Minnesota reportedly had around $250,000 worth of Pokemon merchandise stolen in February 2022. 1 month later, again in Tokyo, a man was arrested for allegedly launching a heist in order to steal the treasured cards. I don't know what that means. Anyway, very interesting. We don't really have a lot of details on this. This is like very fresh news, like super fresh news.
And apparently it was like fast, because that just sounds like such a smash and grab type of crime.
I saw a picture of this. Let me see if I can find the picture. Yeah. There, that's where so basically all they caught was the palette of cards and a person on camera, and they rolled it off camera, but they don't know where they went after that point. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's an update. Okay. So this was originally posted. I think the last one I saw was at like 1 p.m. today. So this is a newer update. 2 days after the crime, the authorities shared 2 photographs of the suspects making off with their illegally acquired goods. The 2 additional photos have been added. Detectives are still seeking help. Okay, so they got more footage of them. Probably checked a ton of cameras. seeking the public's help in identifying 2 people of interest possibly involved in the theft. Added the cards or transport to an unknown location. Valuations continue to reach new heights, increasingly desirable. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there wasn't really an update. I mean, other than... I mean, I guess we could check the IMPD's thing. Homicide arrest. Person located. Missing person. I don't even see the... Man, they post a lot on here. What? Just pictures of crack and cocaine? Huh. Man, they really do that. Like, they just posting people's crimes on X, not to be confused with Twitter. Huh. They're like, hey, we found some cocaine. You guys want to see it? That's weird. Okay, that's it. We don't have any other updates on that. Just there is, I mean, man, jacking a whole pallet worth of cards. Maybe they didn't even know what was on the pallet. They just was like, it's there. It'd be kind of interesting if they just were like helping set up for the Gen Con and they just kind of like were moving things around. Probably not, though.
Probably not. It's wild. It's wild that no one like was paying attention. You'd think during setup would be active enough that they'd have people going like back and forth.
I will say I've set up for a pretty decent sized convention. We had virtual reality set up there. We're giving out letting people get into the virtual reality and play around with it. So when I was setting up that booth, I was astounded by the number of people who just left their booth after they set it up. Like, the in-between the setup and people being allowed in the building. And it was almost as though there was like this unspoken, surely no one who's setting up a booth would ever steal from another person setting up a booth. And our neighbor who has set up a booth right next to us, he put all of his product out exactly as it was going to be on display, tucked a bunch of boxes underneath his table. But when he was pushing the boxes through, some of his boxes came through on our side. And I didn't notice until we were like shutting down on the 3rd day. And he was packing up his stuff. And he was like getting ready to leave. And I was like, hey, are these 2 boxes yours? And he's like, oh yeah, those are. And they were like full-size Star Wars Lego sets in 2 giant boxes. And I was just thinking like, gosh, those were probably like over $100 a piece. And there was probably like 2 dozen of them. Just
Jesus.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, thank you. I mean, he was very grateful, but I don't know.
That's a weird thing to not notice, though. To me, at least.
I think a lot of these people who set up these stalls are not the owners of the places that they're representing. They're like game stores and stuff that go to like many conventions. So they have like employees that, are heading to different places at different times. His whole setup was a Lego setup, though. So, I mean,
oh, maybe.
I don't know. I can't imagine not accounting for
that much product, like every step possible.
Right. Or maybe he's just done so many conventions and it's become so normal.
I guess. Yeah. Could have just been.
This with the pallets, though, it could be that he basically saw someone who was wheeling in a pallet, then going back to the loading dock, wheeling a pallet, going back, and then he just timed it right. He dropped one off and he immediately grabbed it and walked off with it. Don't know. Yeah, I was perplexed at the lack of security and the lack of care during setup at the convention I was setting up in. Yep. Yeah. And maybe they take it for granted that in our age of technology, like everything's under surveillance or something. Like maybe everyone kind of feels like it's hard to get away with anything anymore. Don't know. Did you hear about the Kai? I don't know how to say his last name. Sanat?
That's how I say it, Kai Sanat. I've never heard anything about him. Other than like I've maybe seen his name on like lists of popular Twitch streamers or something like that, but I don't know anything about him.
So basically, he came on stream and he said that he was going to hit this area of New York City, and they were going to be doing massive like giveaways. And so let's see here. Who recently became most subscribed creator on the stream platform, asked his fans and followers to show up for a real life giveaway in New York City, and they did, with reportedly 2,000 people arriving, leading to chaos and arrests. On August 4th, Kai held a giveaway event in Union Square in New York City. Beforehand, the popular streamer promised that he would be handing out $100 gift cards, PCs, and PlayStation 5s. In a short stream from Kai before going out into the massive crowd, the Twitch streamer pointed out the huge number of people gathered and commented that the NYPD was out in full force, claiming the cops had already used tear gas on some before departing the meet. It's a lot of y'all out here right now, Kai said on stream. Everybody who's out here, make sure you're all safe. Yeah, check this out on CNN. Freaking bananas. Breaking news on CNN.
Welcome back to CBS News. We want to take you now to the streets of New York City. There you can see a large police presence as thousands of people have.
I mean, he's the most subscribed streamer on Twitch.
Announced a video game giveaway.
Not a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer.
Union Square, and it created quite a scene there. A large, rowdy crowd. We understand that some of them were throwing items. A fire extinguisher was deployed. Police have now tried to get that crowd.
It broke down.
And as we look at these
pictures, it broke down quickly.
CBS's chopper, we can see that there are dozens of police officers on the scene trying
blah,
to
blah, 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 blah.
This is
do they have any of the good footage? No, this is all helicopter.
Several individuals stand. This is on a Friday after
this area. We actually haven't seen this crowd disperse.
A lot of fucking people.
Still there.
A lot of people, right? Yeah, here we go. This is the.
As you can see, there's
so this is what there it is. So I don't know if I'm allowed to show this. I mean, it's on YouTube, so this is the vehicle that Kai is in. His security had to like pick him up like a 5-year-old child and run with him. There's some footage of it, and it's crazy. At one point in time, there was a little girl that was getting like trampled in the crowd, and Kai actually threw her on his shoulders. There's a couple pictures of this little girl like piggyback riding on Kai as he's trying to get her out of the crowd. And then he himself ends up getting picked up and thrown in this vehicle. This is like Dawn of the Dead type stuff. I don't know if you can't see the vehicle too well. Maybe they zoom in on it better. Yeah. There's like people on top of it, people climbing on it, grabbing the railings. And when they drive off, like, well, it's a little graphic, so, you know, warning, a little graphic.
People who showed up, and clearly
if they show the whole thing.
Vastly outnumbered in the situation.
Stefan, I don't want to interrupt you for one quick second right now because you're looking at live pictures of a car that was covered
building got in the way
with people, and we do believe that that was the vehicle that had Kai.
Yeah, that was the vehicle that had him.
And that is why you're seeing
there. So
chase after.
People were standing in front of it, people jumping on top of it.
Kai Cenat is in right now. As Stefan was saying, he was there. He was in the
I wish we could have got an earlier picture, because an earlier picture of this car, this thing was like almost like you almost couldn't even see the vehicle. There were so many people on top of it.
Getting in the car,
good Lord.
Clearly you're looking at a very dangerous
and now it's taken off and people are just on it.
Clinging on to the side and top of it.
And they're going like full speed.
It's mind-boggling why they're not stopping to let these people off the car.
I mean,
and they,
and
then
did you see it? Probably shouldn't replay it. I'm gonna replay
let
it.
These people off the car.
Looks like a good.
And they,
boom. Oh, he jumped off. Okay, he didn't fall off.
Someone fell off. Okay.
Yeah. If you keep watching, those people come off. they get off the vehicle. Oh man. One vehicle is driving away from the chaos, but was mobbed by the crowd. Slowly through a large number of fans before it sped off. People hanging onto the car noted that at least 3 people were seen falling off the speeding vehicle. Mm-hmm. Kai, popular content creator who started out with YouTube channel in 2012 before transitioning to Twitch in 2021. Primarily known for comedic videos, pranks, and his wild personality, he became a star on Twitch while playing games like GTA and NBA. A lot of time in the just chatting section of Twitch. So an update today at 6 p.m., so not too long ago, during a press conference held a few hours after the giveaway, blah, blah, blah. So this is the NYPD. They had to do a statement.
How's everybody doing?
And if you look at the street behind him, like, the whole place is fucked.
About showing up to Union Square.
Are they show more of Union Square? No, they're going to be just fixated on this guy. Yeah. Look how trashed Union Square is. Totally jacked up Union Square. NYPD Chief of Police spoke gathering press about 10 minutes, answering questions. I mean, so this is the big thing. Police are still deciding on possible charges to file against Kai, though Madri suggested inciting a riot could be one possible crime levied against the streamer. Kai is a multi-millionaire, so I'm assuming they're just gonna milk some of that content creator money and probably move on. Oh, this is the shot of them picking up Kai. Well, I said they picked him up like a 5-year-old. This person said they lifted him like a toddler. Look at him. They're passing him around. There's a better shot from above where he's passed along like 6 people, and he is like cruising. They are like throwing him. All the bouncers. His bouncers, though, are some of like the biggest dudes I have ever seen in my life. If you look at this guy that's holding him right now and passing him over, look how tall. His head is like 1.5 feet above the next biggest person. Dude is huge. When asked how many people had arrested, he was unable to provide a specific number, but did claim that an entire city bus was filled with people in police custody. Woo! Yeah, so it looks like we got another update. Report that Kai will be charged with at least 2 counts of inciting a riot and unlawful assembly and likely others. I mean, I don't know how much of that will stick, but if it does, what is that? I don't even know. I don't even know what the charge for that would be. 5 years in prison or something? Okay.
Or a couple $1 million in fines.
Right. You know, I was once in a vehicle with a very rich man. Maybe I've said this before, but I always think about it whenever this topic comes up. A very, very, very wealthy man who was kind of, just a little hard to tolerate, a little bit high on his horse. But we pulled up to a parking spot. We were going into a restaurant. And when we pulled up, I pointed that there was a no parking sign. Like, he parked literally like on top of a no parking sign. And I said, "Hey, you can't park here." And he's like, "No, I can park here. It's just an expensive parking spot." And like, my brain broke a little bit. That wasn't even a joke to him. It was just, no, it's just an expensive parking spot.
What turbo capitalism does to a person.
But to him, he would rather pay the $300 parking ticket and be parked right in front of the restaurant than walk 2 blocks to the restaurant.
It's the same type of person that can completely justify in their mind paying like $500 for like aim hacks in competitive FPSs.
Right.
It's like, it's not cheating, it's just an expensive tactic to win.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. AMP has given an official response after Twitch star Kai impromptu giveaway. Let's see here. Is this a different one or is this the same one?
Pushing and shoving. Now we see police pushing back. There comes.
Is that the tear gas?
More objects, water coolers.
Nah. Let's see here. The result was not your usual fan meetup. Instead, thousands of fans swarm Union Square, resulting in a riot that saw 65 people arrested. Man, I wish there was more videos on here. There were some crazy on the ground. I mean, everyone had their cell phone out. Hope to create a positive experience for fans and give back. Oh, I think AMP might be his handlers. Fuck, what do you call that? Producers. Basically people who make sure that you don't become so much of a brand risk that it's detrimental to your brand. I call them handlers. Because
that's pretty much what I would call them too. The PR team.
I just feel weird being a very, very white man saying, where were the handlers for this black man? I don't know if anyone's thinking that, but it made me feel weird when I said it. So, to clarify what I mean by that, it's within the business, like celebrities have always had handlers, and those would also be the people who teach you how to, or not teach you how to, but basically prep you for interviews to make sure you don't say something that you're not supposed to, remind you what you can and can't talk about. Public relations agent, that's a perfect word for it.
That makes sense.
So the biggest problem here is, and I don't know. Oh, there's the picture of him saving the little girl.
That's got to count for something, right?
Has revealed him consoling and protecting fans as the chaos unfolded. There's some really good, like, Blair Witch Project looking video footage I've seen. That's cool. He's stopping and helping people. Kai seems like a really good guy. He really, really does seem like a good guy for sure. Like a very good-spirited person, good-hearted person. If not a little chaotic and off the wall, which I mean, that's what he gets paid for.
Yeah. That's
I think,
expected.
I'm pretty sure it was New Year. It was either New Year last year or 4th of July last year. One of those two. He bought a bunch of fireworks, and he's inside of his own house. I mean, he owns like a mansion, right? And he has like all of the boys over, and he has like 2 boxes of fireworks, and they have a fireworks fight inside of his house on stream. And it's like,
it's like, if that's gotta be, if that wasn't like properly set up, like
it was not. It was not.
No, I mean, like contact the fire department and then.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's what I'm saying is
that's got to have been a crime then too.
This is why he keeps getting in trouble. Is like his handlers are not handling appropriately, or he's not listening to them. One or the other. Like, there's no way. There is no way that the people in Kai's circle did not say to him at some point, "This is probably not a good idea." I mean,
at least the bare minimum of public safety steps, you know?
I think Kai's like 23? 24?
It's young enough that I can see why it would be happening, but it's also kind of old enough that like I
think with this level of fame and this level of attention and this level of money, you almost have to be treated like a 16-year-old. Because it's too much. Not to mention, he basically was making his wealth at 21 years old, if not even a little bit before that. So, like, learning about life and what's okay and not okay in, like, a public way and, like a legal way, just never having that feeling like you can do wrong because you have enough money to get out of all wrong. And then obviously he didn't think this was going to happen. You know, in his
Yeah,
mind, it was
sure.
probably like, oh man, it's going to be a big party and the NYPD are going to, you know, they're going to be like, you know, freaking out, but not to the point of like people are bashing in cars and breaking things and people are getting beat up and
Yeah, he was off by a good factor there.
yeah. So obviously, I think inciting a riot requires proof of intent. And I think that just from watching the videos of how he's responding, obviously not the intent he was aiming for. I
Or
really,
I was gonna say a little more cynically, it's also one that's probably pretty easy to wiggle out of, even if that was the intent. Or at least settle for a, you know, swap it out for a
here it
smaller
is.
charge or lower charge. Oh,
I think this is the video. Is it? Yes. Yes. I'm pretty sure this is the video. Can you see it okay? Ah. It doesn't have a pop-out player, so... Shit. Alright, well, you guys are going to just have to see it from there. I think this is the one where they make, like, a run for it. Because they can't get the vehicle. The vehicle that he's trying to get out of there in, the first vehicle. Now, look at... You can tell they're on high alert if you look at his bouncer. Grabs him by the back of the neck. You can barely see it. So the bouncers grab each other, like one hand on the other bouncer and one hand on him. But look how big these dudes are. His bouncers are fucking mammoths, man. And watch this guy in the front. He is going to like shoulder check the shit out of people. Because they have to basically go directly through the center of the crowd. They make a two-man cage around him because fans are coming up trying to touch him and stuff. And there's this girl that's with him. This is what I meant by Blair Witch, by Blair Witch style. Kai gets up, his guys get up. She does not. She doesn't get up. And then the camera cuts out and the footage goes. She got left behind. But yeah, they you can tell that Kai is, I mean, it's not he's not having fun. You know what I mean? Like he's not having a good time.
it's become a very stressful situation for him.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
looking at his bouncers going like, dude, you need to get me the fuck out of here. You know, people are throwing shit. People are grabbing me. The vehicle is completely surrounded. We can't even get out of here. That's why I said it looks like Dawn of the Dead because, you know, it's just a bunch of zombies and you're the only one with brains. You know what I mean? Killed the audio, but yeah. Man, wild. I think is that the police? Duke Dennis. I don't know who that is. Not sure who that is. And that was the one with the car getting out. Yeah, so obviously if you guys, you know, if you guys look it up on X or anywhere else, I mean, everybody had their cameras out. I gotta say, my favorite part of this whole thing, obviously a bad choice on his part, for sure. He's an adult. He fucked up. But this is the little girl that he picked up. He grabbed a hold of her, ran through the crowd with her, got her back to her mom. Pretty cool. He noticed that somebody out here was having like a panic attack or some kind of heat stroke or something, and he stopped, tried to get her to help her breathe, and you know, he's sitting on the ground with her. Like, cool stuff. I just wanted to see you. I can't breathe. The fan could be heard saying to Kai, asked if they'd taken their medication. He did his best to calm them down in the moment, helping them breathe and making sure they were okay. Additionally, he was seen carrying a child named Junior away from the chaos, helping mother get their child's safety, and hooking them up with a few gift cards. I mean, cool shit. In the midst of all this, you know, the well-intended human being bleeds through quite a bit. I'm interested to see what he's going to say about this when he's able
to make an actual public statement. Yeah, I want to see the put on the tinfoil hat and the Alex Jones voice and be like, they're all paid actresses. They're all paid actors.
Yeah, all 3,000 of them, especially the ones I was running from for my life.
That little girl makes $2 million a year.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Unpatchable vulnerability in Tesla's AMD chip allows free access to the car's paywalled features. A flaw in the AMD chip means penny-pinching Tesla can indeed be jailbroken.
Excellent. Perfect.
I know. We talked about this.
Open and shut. Great thing.
We talked about it. How long ago was that? I can't even remember. But we were talking about them paywalling features of the vehicle. Tesla has been locking certain features for vehicle owners behind a paywall. Dumb as it sounds to deal with in-car purchases after you've already paid for the car outright, Tesla isn't the only car manufacturer doing this, but its owners are asked to pay extra for things like faster acceleration and heated rear car seats. And there are inevitably those who have been searching for a back door and find one they have. We called it. We called it here, folks. It comes in the form of an unpatchable chip flaw in the architecture of Tesla's AMD chips. For context, this is the same AMD RDNA2 based Ryzen APU that allows for Steam integration. Actually in the car when parked up. Found in Tesla's Model X, Model S, and Model 3 and Model Y, so half their run-up. It's also the one that had to be patched over after overheating issues were spotted. As Hot Hardware notes, TU Berlin researchers have been able to bypass some of Tesla's software locks thanks to a voltage fault and injection attack the AMD security processor. Okay. Lets you bypass Musk's cheeky paywall. Physical flaw in third-generation media control unit gives us two distinct capabilities. First, it enables the first unpatchable AMD-based Tesla jailbreak, allowing us to run arbitrary software on the Informant. Second, it will enable us to extract an otherwise vehicle-unique hardware-bound RSA key used to authenticate and authorize a car in Tesla's internal service network. In gaining root permissions, the researchers have been able to make changes to the Linux system underpinning Tesla's AMD hardware, and decrypt and encrypted NVMe storage and access private user data such as phone book, calendar entries, and etc. On the other hand, it can also benefit car usage in unsupported regions. Of course, it means users are susceptible to hackers accessing their private data. But when your back seats are heated for free, what is there to complain about?
Jesus, to do that level of an attack, no, like you're not.
You're already a person of interest if that much work is going into it.
But you're even still more likely to be the victim of like a phishing attack than some sort of targeted. Car-specific targeted action. Like that's just so obscenely small. It's like it's Hollywood, right? That's like, right. Oh, I can hack into the 7 Fast, 7 Furious super speeder.
I gotta get into the bit coding self-replicating password changer. Gotta hack into the mainframe.
The mainframe. It's always the mainframe.
It's always the mainframe. Not the mainframe. Yeah. So the last piece of, because like I said, this segment is called crimes. So many crimes. So we've talked, I would say we've talked about crime so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all been crimes. Theft, a riot, jailbreaking a car, I think is a form of theft.
Well, jailbreaking is a crime. Maybe not this interpretation of, not this definition of jailbreaking.
Perhaps charging you extra money to turn on the heated seats that you already purchased is a crime.
Should be a freaking crime.
The final crime we're going to talk about, and the most egregious of all the crimes we're going to talk about, is that Fallout is coming to Magic the Gathering.
What even? Like...
What even? Magic the Gathering is nearly 30 years old, which is an auspicious anniversary. On Saturday, Wizards of the Coast announced a new Universe Beyond collaboration, which brings other iconic IPs into the collectible card game. Fallout, the post-apocalyptic RPG property from Bethesda Game Studios, will be showing up in Magic the Gathering. A set of Commander decks will be released in March 2024, with each deck representing a Wasteland faction like the Brotherhood of Steel or the Enclave. We can also expect to see Assassin's Creed show up, which is a franchise with a rich library of heroes and historical settings to pull from. The announcement covered material coming after 2024 as well. Cards based on the Final Fantasy franchise will come to Magic the Gathering in 2025. The set will encompass every Final Fantasy game from the original 1987 to the recently released Final Fantasy 16. Wizards of the Coast has collaborated with several different brands and IPs to bring them into collectible card game. Jurassic World is another combination in the works, with cards from the popular movie franchise coming to the game. Japanese horror manga artist Junji Ito has created several cards in his uniquely stark style, and the Secret Lair series has introduced Transformers, Warhammer 40k, and even Fortnite to Magic. Wizards also shared a series of sets it will release in 2024, including a Modern Horizons set, a remastered collection of cards from Ravnica, which originally debuted in 2005, a Clue edition of the Ravnica set, and a cute and cozy World of Bloomborough. Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. Because as far as I can tell, they're at least the Fallout ones, it's confirmed that the Fallout is going to be limited to Commander decks. So just pre-made decks with cards that are only usable in Commander.
Yeah, man, I called where this was going as soon as they started doing crossover stuff.
And it's kind of crazy, some of the crossovers they're doing. I just kind of wish that they didn't call it Magic or called it something else. I don't know.
I wish they were pickier. Some of the crossovers make sense. Like the Warhammer 40k one is, you know what, actually makes perfect sense to me. I'm like, yeah, that tracks. I could see that as a plane or a dimension as part of the greater like Magic universe.
I think I could see Warhammer. 40k is kind of a stretch for me.
It's a little sci-fi-y, but I mean they've done more like sci-fi concept stuff before than I would normally expect. But 40, both the regular Warhammer and the 40k, I can definitely see as Magic sets.
Fortnite,
Final
not
Fantasy?
so much.
Final Fantasy I can see as a Magic set. I'm like,
yeah,
be one of the less serious, more lighthearted ones.
They did say all the Final Fantasy games, and like Final Fantasy 13 is really hard for me to.
It's still,
I guess
like,
the Magic stuff,
Magic system, and like elemental stuff that would fit the themes and make sense. Like I can see them doing it, especially maybe the 13 maybe not so much, and some elements of like 12 and 10 even not so much.
Fallout,
but,
Jurassic World, and Fortnite.
I know why.
Especially Jurassic World. I think Jurassic World might be the most egregious.
like Fallout would give me a headache trying to come up with stuff, but I'm sure I could come up with stuff. What kills it for me is Assassin's Creed. I'm like, why not just do the Magic the Gathering world history? Like that's
right.
That's
Okay.
on the same level,
I see
basically,
what you're saying.
right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
If you strip out the weird, mysterious kind of like alien progenitor spoilers, but whatever, the weird stuff that's actually going on, like in the background real world of the Assassin's Creed games, like, and even that, none of that makes any sense with like for Magic theming. But outside of that, like it's all based on real world places, real world events.
Right.
That like what? Just do a fucking world history set. Just be legit. If like there's no magic, like no actual anything that would actually be like magic. There's some like mysterious sci-fi BS, but that's it.
True.
Like nothing that would be red magic. You know, that would make me believe it. Nothing that would be green that would make me believe it.
I just don't want like the Jurassic World Chris Pratt Planeswalker card. You know, I just don't want it. I don't want it. I would like to not have it.
Anything else?
You
I was
know, like your mana is just chunks of amber or something. As a goof deck, I don't mind. In fact, I used to do on commission, a very small commission. I used to take people's Magic deck. They'd give me their deck list, and I'd go online, look up that deck list, and I would recreate every single card in their entire deck. I would rename it. I would change the flavor text. I'd change the picture, but otherwise it would be a 1-to-1 replica for play. It was
for gameplay, yeah,
a replica. But then they would just pick a theme, and I was making like a Legend of Zelda deck, a Bowser deck, where Bowser was, a red planeswalker, stand-in, and I'd make like Goombas and Koopas, Troopas, and some of the spells would, everything fit. And it was a lot of fun because when we played at our local game store, it was like, hey, I'm going to use my actual deck. I have the actual deck here, and then I have a proxy for the entire deck here. And they just wanted to use their fun proxy deck, which was a ton of fun because all you had to do is print it out, and you'd print it out on like a card stock, and you'd snip it out and slide it in a sleeve with an actual card behind it. So it shuffled the same, it dealed out the same, and it looked cool. And I had a ton of fun doing that. So a part of me enjoys that, but I'm almost more okay with that than what they're doing with Commander. Because it's kind of making a joke out of Commander. Sort of. I don't know. It depends. I'm not in the Magic circle anymore, so I guess
don't really
it
take it
depends.
too seriously anymore.
Right. And maybe because of what's happened so far with it, maybe people have kind of relented. Like maybe people have kind of given in. I thought the Lord of the Rings set looked amazing. The artwork on a lot of the Lord of the Rings cards look phenomenal, which obviously Magic art always looks pretty good, but especially I've never seen such gorgeous cards before, which I imagine they probably went above and beyond because of the IP. But
yeah, it's got to be it.
But I mean, they made tons of alternative art and full card art and shit like that, and it doesn't look out of place in Magic. Lord of the Rings and Magic, I mean, they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
So-
they are pretty good. That's a pretty good crossover match.
So I was thinking that Final Fantasy was one that stuck out to me because I am a massive Final Fantasy fan. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I if they stick it to Commander, I'm okay with it. Lord of the Rings is basically my edge. Like, I cannot see anything beyond that I would be okay with if I were a current player, that I'd be all right with as a core set, as like a part of the official game. I just don't think I could go beyond that. I can't even think of an IP that I'd be okay with. I think Lord of the Rings is the only one that I can imagine. Otherwise, you just need to make a new card game. In my humble opinion.
And if you care about like the lore of the MTG universe stuff that's going on, like they've got lots of cool stories. They've got lots of worlds already set up. I really wish, like all these crossover things, they feel like filler arcs.
Yeah, they detract from this very, very well fleshed out and kind of gorgeous world that's been made.
I know it's not really the point. It's kind of the same thing with League of Legends. Like, I really enjoyed the original lore that they had going for like League of Legends back in the 2012, 11. And it's like, okay, I know that's not the point of the game, and that most people who actually care about the game don't care about that at all.
Right.
But it matters to me. I like reading and learning about original worlds, well-built worlds that have history to them. Like it's really fun and really entertaining, and putting it in a card game where you can get cards that have like flavor text about different characters and their histories and their relationships with other characters that carry on, and then like that's so neat. I love that part of collecting Magic. I loved Ravnica for that reason.
Ravnica's awesome. My favorite was oh boy, give me a second. Not Phyrexia.
Eldrazi,
thank you. But the world that they're in, Zendikar. Zendikar was my absolute favorite. I love the core, the KOR or core, like the core skyhooks, core stone crafters, the whole core race. I thought was fantastic. Zendikar was amazing. The Eldrazi are absolutely fucking terrifying. There's a really awesome, because there's just an awesome, I have the Zendikar book over on my shelf over here with all the artwork and the lore. And there's just an absolutely phenomenal picture of an Eldrazi that is asleep. And there's an adventurer who is like turning away from it, like running and screaming, as his body is being turned into like white ash by just getting too close to it while it was sleeping. It's like unconsciously sucking the life force out of the things around it, like unknowingly. And Annihilation was such a cool thing. Yeah, I think the Eldrazi and the Phyrexia were my two favorites. I love monsters. I love like monster movies and stuff, and I can't remember. I had a really cool Eldrazi deck I really enjoyed playing too. Nothing better than destroying land. Destroying mana. That's the best. Everyone loves that.
Man. But yeah, so they had so much cool stuff that they could play with, and it just feels like such a cop-out for them to go with, other works.
Yeah.
Just adapt their mechanics to it and slap a picture of them, the IP on it. I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Even though some of the cards and the artwork are really cool, and as a fan of both intellectual properties, part of me is kind of like, oh, it's pretty cool. But I think what was cool about it was always the idea, not the thing in its actuality. It's one of those weird kind of hypocritical things. It's like, I know I said I wanted it, but it's
Right.
not what I wanted.
What was it? They spent so long asking if they could, they forgot to ask if they should.
Yeah, or it's like a monkey's paw thing.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all I got. I'm not going to do the nation thing. I was going to, but meh. Kind of meh.
we'll let the issues pile up. We'll say it's a Congress is in recess right before the budget needs to be finalized.
Yeah, exactly. What is it today? Today is Monday, August 7th. So the next podcast will be on the 9th, which is Wednesday. The podcast is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. EST. We are live. And yeah, this was awesome. That comic.
Yeah, opening up that magazine was a real blast from the past for sure.
And I was so worried it was going to be some shit magazine.
It was actually like one of the best ones it probably could have been. Like the whole kind of compilation.
Yeah.
All that stuff. That was fantastic. That was a fantastic one to open up to.
Probably like their biggest money maker of the year as far as how much advertising is in it. They probably called up a ton of miniature game studios being like, we'll review your game in our magazine. It's like a sentence. Many graphics, much wow. Should play. Enjoy. Good. And like it's 100 reviews and they all read that way.
Just caveman speak.
Right. I mean, some of it, kind of. Some of it's pretty dang close. I gotta say,
collect burger. Jump high.
My favorite part of the whole magazine, maybe the whole podcast today, is the learning that the Sony PlayStation was originally hardware made for Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't think I ever, if I ever heard that, like it wouldn't in one ear out the other, because I definitely don't remember. And I've listened to the history of like the CDI and the Sega CD, and I don't remember it ever being mentioned that.
And seeing the picture of the prototype was kind of interesting because it had a CD player on the front and it had a cartridge spot on the top. That cartridge spot on the top looks like an N64 cartridge. So I don't know what that means, but we know that prototype turned into two distinct consoles at some point, which is so neat.
So cool.
That's why when we were hearing PlayStation, I'm like, why would you hear about the PlayStation prior to the release of the SNES when the N64 doesn't even exist yet? I'm like, it just doesn't sound right. And that's because it wasn't right.
Yeah. It kind of tells you how far ahead some of these companies were thinking about things, though. They may have bungled it or mistimed it.
That means Sony was way ahead of the curve. Sony was in a different atmosphere.
Yep. They were all space brained.
Like they were ready to make the Sony PlayStation before the first SNES hit the first house in America. That's so interesting to me. I mean, obviously the tech changed, the hardware probably changed, all that stuff. The $18,000 setup or $30,000 gaming setup sweepstakes. Fuck. Insane. All right. That's it for us, guys. This is the Trade and Raid podcast. I am your host, Lord Glarp, or Mike, whatever you prefer. And as always, this is Sage, my wonderful, wonderful co-host. Got anything for the people, Sage?
Enjoy the beginning of your week. Take it easy. Don't work too hard. And thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Catch you in a couple days.